What's up, Victoria? It's Victoria. Today I want to play with my oldest makeup in my makeup collection. Took today off because last night I went to see St. Vincent and she was so good live. This is the 4th time I've seen her. I'm gonna start with this for just kind of like a lip prep. I don't really normally use it for it. I normally just wear it as a lip gloss. This is the Charlotte Tilbury Plumpgasm lip gloss in the shade Pillow Talk Light. I think this is one of the spiciest lip pumpers I've ever used. I took today off in advance, like prepper, like, you know, I'm in my mid-30s. It's like, I can't go to a concert. And speaking to that, seeing how people were, like, I got dressed up. I wore like a cute mini skirt and like a mesh top, and everyone else was just like kind of like in comfy clothes. And I was like, hey guys, I know we're like aging hipsters, but could we please like put a little effort into the show? Had a great weekend. Over the weekend I went shopping with Rachel of Rachel Ellen Rose and we had a great time. More to report on that in like probably another video. Not like our interacting with each other. We're friends, so like it wasn't weird to go hang out. We hang out for like the whole day. It was so good. My one friend who is a professor, she like leaves every summer and she like does like a bunch of stuff internationally throughout the summer. So she was leaving. She's like leaving soon, so because I guess the semester's almost over, and then I was just like, how is your semester almost over? It's still January. Anyway, I was like, I need a day to like just sit, and I might rearrange my room later. The thing is, every day feels short, but everything feels so long too. Tiff just rearranged their room, and then I was like jealous. Do you ever, like, I don't know how else to describe it, but I was like, ugh, I want to do that. And so I think I'm gonna. Basically, we'll have a little bit of a discussion about like how old I think each thing is, but sometimes I will have something newer to me, but I've been using the product for a long time and that's what's considered old. So the Victoria Beckham, the original formula of the Cell Rejuvenating Priming Moisturizer, I've been using this for the past, I guess, almost two years. I'm not actually sure. Whenever I did the Victoria Beckham review, but now I'm thinking about the Victoria Beckham review and I don't remember what year I did that. And you know what's so funny is I still feel like such a, I guess not really, but sort of feel like a new YouTuber, I guess, if that makes sense. But like I've been doing it regularly since 2021, but now that means we're 4 years deep. But I'm not saying that's like means I'm like a full-time professional YouTuber. Of course it doesn't mean that, but I still feel like a baby in this scene. Not like my age, but just like existing in the space, I guess, is what I really mean by that. I think also showing stuff that I have used many years ago or for many years is helpful to be like, this is just a product I really like. I think this is my oldest concealer. This is the Creator Concealer from Rituel de Fille. This is the Lab Access release, and it's now the Sorcery Concealer. I hear the cries. People really want me to try the new concealer. I'll work on that. This was like a funny one. I had highs and lows with this concealer. When I first got it, I like really liked it. Time kept going, and I really love that Rituel de Fille does this with some of their products, where it's like kind of like a soft launch. The product might not be finalized. You try the formula, you give feedback. I really like that. But as a content creator, and this is like where my brain going between a consumer and a content creator, I thought I have to think about it wasn't really good for content. Not that I wasn't talking about it in content, and I didn't do a dedicated video to it because by the time I would have, no one would have been able to buy the lab sample because they do it for a limited time. There's only so many samples they're going to make, but it is just such a cool concept and I think they should keep doing it. So I still really like this concealer. I thought I didn't like it or that I didn't want to talk about it anymore for the exact reason that I basically said up top. Like people tend to ask about the new formula and it's like, here I am using this old formula that doesn't really exist in this format anymore. And people are, and I like it, so I talk about it and I talk positively about it, and people are like, well, I can't buy that. Can you talk about the new one? So like the fear does come true. If you ever think that content creators say they get rid of discontinued product because, or people complain about not being able to get that specific thing, that's why. Like people do really say that. And even on a smaller scale, like where I'm at, it does happen. No one's ever rude about it. Like I can imagine like on a larger scale, maybe people will get rude. Everyone who's asked me to talk about the new Sorcery Concealer has been very polite about it. But it just like is a reality of the situation. I put it in a quarantine box for a little bit of time because I was like, I don't think I really want this. It's such a good concealer and I have it. Why shouldn't I use it? One of the better concealers I've ever tried. It doesn't really crease under my eyes. It works so beautifully as kind of like a full coverage foundation that looks very skin-like if I want to wear it all over my face. My skin looks really good when I'm using it. So like, why wouldn't I use it? And I believe that the new formula would do the same thing, but I can't confidently say that, which is why people are like, can you just please talk about the new one. But here's the other thing, is like if I buy the new one, there's no point in me comparing it to this one, because this was not even like supposed to be a final product. Like I almost decluttered it at one point, and then I said I'm gonna keep it. I'm so glad I did. So yeah, I don't even really need that much more coverage for the rest of my face. Like I probably in a very real way could stop here with complexion, but I'm not. We're gonna do the most because I always do the most. So the next thing I'm fairly certain is my oldest foundation. It's the Surratt Dewdrop foundation. I have re-upped sometimes, and so I think that even looking in my drawer right now, this is the one that is the oldest. The goop that's in here was received in PR. This is not the packaging that Surratt puts it in. I just don't like the packaging that Surratt puts it in. I do want to have a little bit of a frank conversation about this. I was wearing this a couple weeks ago, and I think it might be because the formula is old, or maybe the things I paired it with, but this foundation, it was usually very reliable for me, but I hadn't used it in so long. And then I was like, uh-oh, what if it went off? And the thing that was happening was it just looked pretty matte and lifeless the last time I used it. And that is like never the way it used to look, or the way that I used to feel that it looked. I'm sorry if you hear a lot of sounds. My neighbor's like putting an in-ground hot tub in. He's been working on it for a while. He's doing it all by himself. He had like a, some kind of construction thing device back there the one day, and he was like digging a hole. Resourceful people, like people who can just do things like that. He's like one of those people. Like they like redid their whole backyard. Yeah, there's always a project with them, my neighbors, and I like them. I actually don't complain about it, but most of the time I find that even when he is using his tools, you can't really hear it in the audio. But I also am doing laundry right behind that wall right now because I'm off today. I'm just trying to get some things done to like help myself. That's stuff that I was supposed to do on the weekend, but I was actually just busy having fun, which is what I think weekends should be for. I posted on Friday. I was like, Happy Friday, TGI Friday. Go have a great weekend, meaning have 1.5 days of freedom, and then you'll have the Sunday scaries. But not only that, a lot of times for most people, the weekend is completely dedicated to doing chores because you don't have time to do them throughout the week. You don't even get to like really have a day of rest and relaxation. You're just doing chores. Just doing chores all weekend. Errands, just everything. And you can do your chores throughout the week, but then you lose your evening. Putting this on today, it looks so good. It looks so good. So it hasn't lost its luster. It looks exactly how I love it to look. Oh, okay. That was really scary. There are some products that I really want to like put next to one another on my face. Not really in an effort to like be like, buy this one, not that one, just because I'm like, how close are these? And then if you were interested in one of them, maybe you would want to buy the other one instead. Case in point, the Patrick Ta. Both of the formulas are pretty expensive between Surratt and Patrick Ta, but a lot of people don't want to buy from Patrick Ta right now, which would make a lot of sense. Maybe the Surratt Dewdrop foundation could be an alternative, but ugh, look at my skin. Really feeling my oats right now. For contour today, let's talk. In my comments, every time I talk about this, people start recommending other contours. We could all turn our listening ears on for Tata. I'm gonna leave that in. Brief explanation. The chat I live with calls me Tata. So like there's Mama, Tata, and Tata. And I am Tata. And I, of course, was making the joke of turning your listening ears on because I live with a child. And sometimes we have to ask him to turn his listening ears on because he's not listening. I was just joking, being extravagant. And I said, turn your listening ears on for Tata. I will hide you from my channel if you call me Tata in those comments. Because one time, Tiff tried to call me Tata when the child was not here. And I said, Tiff, that is not for whenever we are just together by ourselves. They were like, stop being an asshole. I was like, I am not Tata to you. I'm Tata to the child. And I love him, and I let him call me Tata. But I'm not going to let other adults, you people in the you people down there, you don't get to call me Tata. There's only one person who's allowed to call me Tata. And I can be referred to as Tata in the presence of the child, which is totally fine. Makes sense so that he knows who's being spoken to or who needs their attention. But you don't call me Tata. Don't call me Tata. I'm going to be using Ritual Defease Intuition. I got this for a video a couple years ago where I was trying to find the best cream contour for me. This is one of the ones that won. It's cream of the crop for me already. Okay. Oh, the Dewdrop foundation. Ugh. The way I was so over that concealer, I thought, what if I start using the Dewdrop foundation again? And I get sick of it. But no, I can never. Look at my skin. The combo of the Victoria Beckham primer with the Surratt Dewdrop, baby. Oh, my skin looks so good. In regards to the red light therapy talk and me purging, one of you did recommend rinsing my face with warm water after I do my red light therapy. Here's what I think I'm gonna do. The way that you're supposed to use the red light therapy mask is you're supposed to wash your face and then use the device. I think if I'm not wearing makeup, I'm gonna just wipe my face down with some micellar water, let it dry, then use the the red light therapy, then wash my face and do all of my other stuff. That might be the problem. It's just like there's too much time. Like it's like I wash my face and then I immediately constrict the pores with like plastic with red light like with like I guess I don't know. I think it feels like plastic on my face. It just like constricts my pores immediately after I've like opened them. So I could see that maybe working. So I'm gonna try that. I will say I haven't used the red light therapy in a couple days just to see if my skin clears up. Guess what? It is. It's starting to clear up like already. Like not all of it's gone. A lot of the stuff that's in my facial hair is still kind of there. Yeah, so I'm gonna get back into it. It's only been like a handful of days, like maybe 2 or 3 days. Again, if you buy the device, they tell you to clean your face first, dry it, then use the red light therapy. I'm gonna try not doing that in order to maybe, even if I'm not getting the best results from the red light therapy because my face isn't like cleansed in the way that they might want, I still think that will work. Now I'm gonna powder my face. So I have 2 powders that are pretty old. I guess I have 3 powders that are pretty old. We'll start with this one all over the face. I talked about this in a video recently. This is the old formulation of the Givenchy powder. A lot of you have been saying that the pressed version is like a callback to this. I still have this. I'm just gonna use it. I've been really enjoying it, but there was a time where I like didn't really care about this powder. If I finish this powder, but if you are new here, it takes me forever to finish a powder. And it doesn't even matter. It's the only powder I'm using. I give off the energy that I use a ton of powder, and I do, but it's like I use a little bit of this powder and a little bit of that powder. It ends up being a lot of powder. It's different powders. So I'm just gonna powder that. I'm gonna avoid the under eye. I'm gonna use a different one under the under eye, but I have been enjoying this old Givenchy powder also under the eye, and I've heard from other creators in their experience that loose powder is like better for the under eye because it doesn't have like the binding agents, and so it's like less likely to crease your under eye. I don't know how truthful that is. I just heard that, and like I guess maybe less likely to make your under eyes look dry. There's a porcelain skin. Man, it is really good. I was watching Michelle Wong and she said that the press one is like they heard our call, but I think also I'll fact check myself and put it on the screen because I don't want to spread misinformation. I believe that this formulation has talc. I guess going forward, most brands are either going to make new powders that don't have talc. Here's what I'm not interested in. I'm not interested in us getting into warfare in my comment section about talc good, talc bad. It's like, if you want to use talc, great. If you don't want to use talc, great. And I'm not going to judge you for it because I use both. And I find that I have gotten effective results from both as well. But I also know that some people really care about having talc in their powder. And I know that some people very much don't. And that's for you to make that decision. But I'm not going to be here espousing what I think is best for you and your health and whatever. And I'm going to use this under the eyes. This is the Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Brightening Powder. And I got this whenever I did my Charlotte Tilbury brand review, which I would have gotten this around the same time I got the Victoria Beckham stuff the first time, because those kind of got purchased in tandem. They both got purchased around Black Friday of the same year. The Victoria Beckham one just came out later. I think that's how that worked. The way that time is working in my brain right now, it just simply isn't. I've used a lot of it, and I'm actually back in the Charlotte Tilbury video, or when I first started hitting pan on this, I was like, man, I think I hit pan relatively quickly for me in my usage of individual powder. And someone commented, the Charlotte Tilbury powders can be deceiving because you hit pan really fast and then it takes forever to move away from the center of the pan to grow. And that has been the case. Like, it's just, we're still really going. And considering I only use this on my under eye, I do think that they make a travel version of this. I think that's what I would buy next time if I were to buy that again. I'm not sure I'm interested in buying that again either. When I finish that, if I haven't finished this, if I haven't finished this, I would finish that. Words. Of course, this is so old. This is the Chantecaille Perfect Blur Finishing Powder. And I'm going to do a little bit under the eye for some perfecting, and then I'm going to press it into my forehead on the front of my cheeks. If you've been on my channel, you just know that this has been around the whole time. I bought it before I did my no buy, and that's how long it's been around. And my audience didn't really start growing until I did my no buy 6 months. So like this has been kind of around for the whole time my channel has been like mostly active. Also, anyone who's used powders like this, you can see like everything is on the edge. When do we call it? I don't think I'm ready to call it yet. I feel like there's still so much product like raised on the sides, but I also feel as though there's only going to be so far I can get to there before it becomes impossible. And because this is baked and it has like the grate underneath it, I'm not sure if I like scraped it out and pressed it, if that would work. So if you have any familiarity with like panning, I do want to use all this up. I do already have another one But I do want to use this one up before I like get into that one. So if anyone has some solid information on that, I would love to hear it. When I say solid information, I just need your personal experience. I don't need anything really beyond that. Not a professional. You don't need to link to anything. Just let me know if that worked for you. And also, if I end up doing that and it doesn't work as well, or it doesn't work at all, like I can't repress it or something like that, that's okay. I have another one. I'm not really that butthurt about it. I mean, it would be a tragic way for this product, like one of the longest running products on my channel, to just kind of end that way. But also, it wouldn't be a big deal if that was the case. I was trying to focus on products that I bought, but I do think that the Gucci bronzer is my oldest bronzer, because right now it's just this and the one from Trixie that I have that I consider in my personal collection. So of course the Trixie one wouldn't be my oldest one. This was gifted to me by my friend Majestic Beast Beauty on Instagram, Nicole. She gave this to me. And I also have Chantecaille's Ray, but like that's kind of like a certain kind of thing for a certain kind of vibe, and I like wasn't really going for that, so we're just gonna use Gucci in the shade 1. The bronzers that I had when I really started this channel, I had the Tom Ford bronzer in Terra, and I really liked that. It was just so huge, and very rarely am I gonna hit pan on a bronzer. I just think this color is better for me. The Tom Ford one was really lovely, but I had also the super huge packaging of it, and I was just so tired of storing it. And then the person I gave it to seems to really like it and enjoy it, and was very thankful that they received it from me. So I'm just happy that they are enjoying it. Emily, let us know in the comments. Are you enjoying that bronzer? How often do you use that bronzer? I'd be curious. I don't know. And I also guess based on what I'm learning recently in my videos, whenever it comes to bronzer, I guess I don't really apply that much of it. So maybe that is why I've never really gotten to the bottom of a bronzer before. And I've also heard about this one. A lot of my friends who have had this for years are just starting to hit pan on theirs. So I have a feeling it's going to be a long time with me in this bronzer, but I'm still very happy with it. I like the color of it. I like the finish of it. I like everything about it. As I say, every time it comes about this bronzer, and speaking about it specifically, if Nicole hadn't given it to me, I wouldn't have bought it. It was one of those things that was always kind of like very popular, and I was like, I'm supposed to like that. The thing about Gucci is I've met some of their products personally, and I have quite not liked most of them. So I don't really care for their powder blushes. This is a powder product, and I tried the powder blushes and I was like, oh, maybe I'll never try the bronzer. It can't be that good if the blushes are like this. A lot of people love the Gucci blushes, by the way. I just was like simply not impressed by anything about that. Like, I think the packaging is cute, but like the colors aren't really honed in. I do feel the colors of the bronzers are pretty honed in. Obviously, I really like this one. I tried their matte foundation, and it was green, which is not to say that it couldn't work for someone, because people definitely do have green in their skin, but it was like supposed to be like the lightest neutral shade, and it just wasn't neutral. It was very bizarre. I also felt like that foundation really felt makeup-y, you know, and what I mean by that, it just like looked like and obviously it does look like I'm wearing makeup right now. I'm not gonna say that it doesn't look like I'm wearing makeup right now, but it was just so really detectable. But I think also a part of that was the color not being correct for me as well. That's always a factor. Like, if you are reviewing a foundation or trying a foundation, if the shade isn't right, who gives a fart what the formula looks like? Like, if the shade isn't close enough, you really are gonna be like, I don't like this, just no matter how it sits on your face, because it just looks wrong. The Gucci lipsticks are fine. I don't love the formula. I don't hate the formula. I feel like they used to be really honed in on their colors on their lipsticks, and then they discontinued. The 2 shades of the Gucci lipstick I have both been discontinued. We're actually going to talk about one of them in a moment's time. I could have sworn I had a pre-pandemic blush, and that is how I'm like, basically I was like really racking my brain. I was like, what do I have from before the pandemic? And I don't think there's a lot that I have from before the pandemic. I think there's only one product, but a lot of the products being featured here is stuff that has been like staples on my channel, which is so funny because it's like, wow, I really assumed I had makeup older than that, but it's all gotten decluttered at some point. I do think this is my oldest blush. This is Mimi from Westman Atelier, and I pressed it into a pan so I could put it in my little blush palette, and I've been very pleased with it, but I also, you know, really love the packaging that it already comes in. But I also, when I use the stick blushes, I normally pick them up like I would from a pan anyway. And I know I'm not a pro makeup artist, but the saving of space has been really lovely, and I never thought that would be a thing I care about, because sometimes I really do care about, like, this mirror is really heavy and luxe feeling. There is some of that I really like, but there's also a convenience thing that I'm also really appreciating right now. So I don't know, but I am still enjoying my depotted blush experiment. If anyone was wondering, I still am. I haven't depotted all of my blushes yet. Like, I have Garçon from Westman Atelier, but like, I might want to keep that one in its thing because it's like, well, I have one that's depotted, I have that one. Anyway. The whole purpose of doing that was so that I could just see them all every time and just like pull that one thing out. But I also now have liquid blushes to contend with, and like those are always going to be in their own packaging, which is like fine, but also kind of ruins the whole blush experiment because I will never have an experience of opening my blushes unless I just switch to cream and powder exclusively. But I do like liquid blushes. That's a lot on blush. Let me apply Mimi. I'm wearing Mimi a lot. Have I been wearing this Mimi recently? My skin's looking so good. Can you believe? I mean, I can believe, but like, wow. I really was like worried I was gonna have to besmirch the Surratt Dewdrop foundation, and I'm so glad I don't have to. So I think we might pull, because this is old. That'll be my focus for the summer, is to use as much of it as I can. But I use so little foundation too. I guess that's really the reality. Makeup in general is like, you're just using a little bit of it. You buy this thing and people always think that like a small amount of product makes them feel like they're getting like robbed of something. And it makes sense, right? You're paying for a product. A mini blush would take me 3 years to finish. It's just the reality of my usage of product. I think it has to be, but I did buy it during my budget year because that year I was really looking for blushes that were like dead pink colors, and this really isn't that, but it looks like that on their website. But I think the written description of Mimi is more correct than the photography that Westman Atelier has on their website. They call it a tawny beige, and I would say that is more what it is than the gray pink color it looks like. This is the oldest product in my makeup collection, the actual physical oldest product in my makeup collection. It's this from mcgrath. This is the highlighter in iridescent pink 003. This came in one of the skin fetish in the packages that had all of the sequins in it, like it came in one of those back in the day. I don't think I got the first launch of it. I got it on there was a relaunch of it, but I think the relaunch was before the brand had a permanent collection. I actually quite like this, and the reason that this has consistently stayed in my life, I don't know, there has been, I think, a lot of improvement on highlighter over the years, but like this one always looks great on my skin, and I always get compliments when I wear it. Like people will ask what highlighter it is. Someone I think commented that it is in one of the motherships. This shade is in one of the motherships, but I'm not gonna tell someone to buy a mothership palette to get a highlighter shade. But it still like looks really good on the skin. Like it doesn't look chalky. Some of the formulas that I feel like were coming out around that this time did, I feel like looking at those with up against current highlighter formulas, a lot of them don't stand the test of time, but I feel like this one just really does. Like maybe it's because it's baked, and like a lot of the stuff that we're doing now is baked, and that kind of just like lays a little bit better on the skin instead of looking powdery and chalky. But like I think even without like spraying my face, it doesn't feel like it's laying on top of my skin. It looks like it's one with my skin, even though it is this iridescent pink color. I'm doing like a couple of things. So I'm gonna prime my eyes really quick, and I'm gonna set that with just like a beige matte, and then we're kind of gonna dip into 2 eyeshadow palettes, and we might even bring the highlighter into the eye look, but we'll see. Other than my Viseart Grand Pro 1X, which I would use in this video, I still really like that palette, but I do use that more like in a utilitarian sense. I pulled out this. This is like my oldest eyeshadow palette that isn't designed with like a pro makeup artist in mind. Like this was like, it's a real eyeshadow palette that has textures and whatever. This is the gold palette from Natasha Denona, the original iteration of it. And the thing is, I very rarely choose to wear this eyeshadow palette, but it's still an eyeshadow palette that I think of very fondly for a number of reasons, right? Like Hannah Louise posted, I had a parasocial relationship with her before I had like a real, kind of relationship with her. It just was like such an iconic part of her experience. But to this day, I think this is the best eyeshadow palette I've ever interacted with. It's like, she took gold and then got really into all of the aspects of like what the color gold can be. You have warmer golds, you have like cooler golds in here, and there's like green golds, and there's just some kind of green aspect. It just feels like whenever we talk about like a gold color story today, and I think even in her current iteration of the golden palette, it's just not a deep dive into gold. Everything's just monochromatic, and this is not, and it is mostly because of the greens, but even like removing the greens, the golds and the textures in here are really, really nice, and it like you have more mustardy browns, and it's just kind of like a very interesting take on a color. And I think that it was just so perfectly done. It's like one of those eyeshadow palettes that live in my head is like, that's just a perfect palette. I like Natasha Denona's formula. I get on with this formula quite well. I know some people don't like her formula. I'm glad to have it. I'm glad I bought it when I did buy it, but I just so very rarely use it. Some of the eyeshadows in here are actually older than the Natasha Denona palette. So I do think these are my oldest eyeshadows, but not all of them. It depends on which palette they came from. If you don't know, I actually took the time to depot the baked special shades in some of my Pat McGrath palettes back in the day and put them in one. So these are all of my favorite Pat McGrath eyeshadows from many of the motherships. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to build a little bit of a base with the gold palette, bring some of these into it. I also think I might try to pull the highlighter into it because I feel like we're going to start looking very warm on the eyes. And I don't feel like the highlighter is super warm, but I think we can add it into the overall look to really do something. And I do think I want to dig into the green the most in this look, which is not really what I do when I pull out the gold palette. I feel like I put some of the greens in my look, or maybe like some of the sheer greens in my look, but I'm going to take like that cream to matte, that dark blue, and I'm going to put it all over my lids. I'll zoom you in a little bit. I'm not wearing my glasses today. I don't have any lenses in, so we're really winging it. I have a package that's supposed to deliver today that's coming via DHL International. It's like my Vive products, and I think my products are currently in New York, and like DHL insists that it's going to be delivered today. Like they haven't even made it to PA yet. Also, it was confusing because the international package delivered to Cincinnati, so at some point it made it past Pittsburgh to New York City, so I can't really explain that one. I don't know that I want this to look so graphic, so I'm gonna go into like this mustardy brown shade to see if I can like blend out the edges a little bit. We'll see. I don't know. I feel like that cream to matte powder will want to set before I can really like get into it. Oh, that's super muddy. I can't tell if I hate this or if I love it. Like this weird color combo. I think I kind of like it. I don't know that it looks actually appealing, but also I'm gonna put some stuff on top and maybe that will also solve my discomfort with it. Cause it's like blending, but also it's kind of like not blending. And then I think I kind of like the way it's looking. I feel like the green set and then also kind of doesn't set as well is kind of like what's I'm running into here. I so very rarely choose to work with this cream to powder shade. I don't know that I've ever had this happen. Let me tell you, I'll be using it on its own if I ever use it again. That's where I think I'm going to stop for now with the mattes because I don't know. I do not know what is happening with them. Okay, and then I'm gonna take this green duo. Oh no, maybe I don't want to do the duo. I'm gonna take this shade up here and kind of just sweep it all over. That's the game plan. There's my emotional support towel. And then I'm going to take the Pat McGrath highlighter and I'm going to put it on top of that and see what happens. Just to bring some of like the pink from the cheek into the eye. Actually, I'm going to keep it on the inner like third. Very interesting. Kind of like it's making like a kind of like gray. I kind of live. Like I kind of like that. It's kind of ugly. I don't think it worked, but I kind of like the outcome anyway. And then I'm gonna take, we're doing a more is more approach to my eye look today. I'm gonna take a shade from the Bronze Mothership, Bronze Seduction, the one that's like kind of flips to green. I'm gonna do that like right here along the lash line, kind of like on the outer 2/3, I would say. It's just kind of like a little more intense than the one from Natasha Denona. We're still going. We're still going. We're still going. We're still going. I'm going to go back into the matte green from the Natasha Denona palette. And I'm going to smudge it just under the outer third of my lower lash line. There's a lot of fallout happening. It's okay. If in retrospect, I knew I was going to do a more intense look and I should have started with my eyes anyway. But you know what the color that fell out the most was this green. All of my eyeliners except for this one from Kulfi are from Victoria Beckham. I'm just going to put it in the waterline and tightline with it. And because Tiger Queen, that's the name of the shade, has a, like red in it, it's going to bring out my eyes and the green more and also be very striking, is my hope. I took off the Charlotte Tilbury lip plumper, and for lip liner, I'm going to be using the Victoria Beckham lip pencil in the shade 5. I think I used the shade 5. I actually wasn't really into lip liner until after I did the Charlotte Tilbury brand review. I just like never really saw the point in it. Up until around that time, I feel like I was just wearing a lot of lip gloss. And if I wasn't wearing lip gloss, I was wearing very like intensely pigmented, colorful liquid lipsticks. And now I feel like I'm more in an era where it's just like, I kind of like wear a little more bullet lipsticks, but I also like a lip liner with gloss. Like I also like that. So we'll just be using this today. The reason that this would be my oldest lip liner is simply because I wasn't really using lip liner until around the time I got this one. I like lip liner. I don't think I'll ever be like someone who has like a million lip liners, but I like them now and I find a purpose for them. And then for my oldest lipstick, I don't know if this is like 100% true. Well, actually it isn't. I do have an older lipstick. It's one from Patrick Ta, and I bought it when I still worked at Sephora, but all of my other makeup didn't make sense with this. I wasn't about to put like a hot pink lip on with all of this green. So I did the second best, second oldest. This is from Gucci. It's a Royal Scandal. The shade is Discontinued now. And now to finish off with MAC Fix Plus. I've been using Fix Plus since I started doing my makeup. It was always the setting, I guess not setting spray, but like kind of like the finishing spray I would use. And I've always had it, except for there was a brief moment of time where I was using the Makeup Forever Fix 02 or whatever, the O2 thing that they sell. The thing is, this has such an iconic scent to it, and if you are someone who is like a MAC Fix Plus girl, you will know that the MAC Fix Plus just has a certain scent and you just want to smell it. So I'm just gonna finish off with this. Obviously this is not my first bottle of this. I just been using it ever since. I just re-upped on it. And here it is. This is a full face of my oldest makeup, or makeup that I have been using for the longest period of time. And I hope you've enjoyed this video. I hope I've inspired you to take out your oldest makeup and show it some love and appreciation. And you might not be able to make a full face with all the colors that you might have that are like technically the oldest, but pull out the things that are the oldest in your collection that don't get a lot of love, because they still make beautiful faces of makeup. Anyway, that's going to wrap up my video. Thank you so much for watching. If you happen to be new here, thank you for watching all the way to the end. I would love for you to hit the subscribe button down below. This is a lot of what I like to do here. I want to use my makeup before making any makeup purchases, and I want to encourage you to do the same. Although I am a beauty channel and I sometimes do incorporate reviews and incorporate newness in order to get more eyes on me, this is really the bread and butter of what I like to do. So if you're into that, I just would love for you to stick around. I'm on Patreon and I have channel memberships. Those are both linked down below. Join if you'd like. I do an additional video over there every single month. But if you don't want to, or you simply don't have the money to, no worries. I'm just so happy that you are here. I will have a pinned comment with some links in there that are helpful for many things. 5calls.org is an organization that has scripts put together so that you can confidently call your representatives and senators in the United States and tell them what you want them to do. And calling is the best way to do that. It's the thing that they are most responsive to. I also have links to help families in Gaza. I also have links to help trans people in Pittsburgh. So if you have additional funds to support those, I would love for you to do that. And that's going to wrap up my video. Thank you so much for watching. Remember to follow your haute and you'll find me. And I'll see you in a video very soon. Go forth. It's out.